And those that are in the afternoon, good afternoon. So is Mukhtar Hakim Hayadeji, just a little boy, as he has already described. BSc Chemistry, MSc Environmental Resource Management, and also a member of ISPON and a Tech IOSH member. So I welcome all the wonderful professionals who have already joined this call to the welcome once again. As I earlier said, it's just a knowledge sharing platform because I know the information I'm about to pass are informations virtually everyone of us know about already. So it's just like maybe we just refreshing some of the information we know. And I know I'm also open to correction and criticism in the course of training, because I know some on the call. So much once again for joining. So the management and global warming effect. And why are we going through this topic today? Is majorly because of what we are experiencing currently. And as we can see that the mother earth is crying. And I'm looking at it currently, most of us, the rate of rainfall now has really started fluctuating due to unstable climate change, due to our anthropogenic activities. When I say anthropogenic activities, that is human activities, which has resulted to change in our activities, starting from the pattern of the rainfall, starting from the pattern of, because currently the rate at which the temperature of the earth is very, very high now is different from the pre-industrial era. This is as a result of most of what we've been doing. And when we talk about waste generally, waste are very wide. When we talk about waste, we have some school of thought says we have 3 types of waste. Some school of thought says we have 4 types of waste. So some school of thought said we have the solid waste, we have the liquid waste, which we know as the wastewater, and we have the what will I call it? The air, which is as a result of air pollution and coal. So the waste, gaseous waste, gaseous waste, using the state of matter, the liquid, solid, and gas. But some still end up categorizing it that there are some waste that, we categorize separately based on the source that we emanate the waste from. If it is an household waste, municipal waste, if it is an industrial waste, based on the source where it is coming from. Some school of thought use that to categorize the type of waste. But for this training, we'll be talking more on solid waste generally, because most of us, we are a victim of solid waste. Not everybody generates, how will I put it, a massive gaseous waste like gas flaring, even though some of us have car, that we still add to the gaseous waste in one way or the other by the release of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere, the use of our generator by the release of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere too. But nevertheless, for this training, we'll be talking more about the, what will I call it, solid waste. So in the course of this training, we'll be talking about solid waste management. We'll be talking about the functional elements in solid waste management, waste hierarchy in solid waste management technologies, circular economy, and solid waste impacts on global warming. But I want us to know that this training is a win-win for us, because in the course of this training, I'll also be mentioning some things that we can also use as side gigs. That is, we can also use in making money for ourselves. Even some of us can even turn it to career, because today they said there is wealth in waste, because there is wealth in waste. Even some people are already making billions of naira as a result of being a recycler, being a waste manager, and so on and so forth. So what is solid waste management? From the word solid, and we all know that waste is anything that we count as something which is what? Unwanted. So solid waste are waste arising from human and animal activity that are solid and are regarded unwanted. So when we talk about solid waste and the use of waste, Look at the term that I'm talking about there, unwanted, because the waste you think it is a waste to you might not be a waste to me. Just like some of us that do go to what we call the Bend Down and Select Boutique, Katango and Co, to buy a clothes. Some clothes that we are buying there is a waste to someone, while to some people, it is not a waste. It is an asset to someone. Just like some of us buying Tokumbo car, buying Nigerian used car. Some Tokumbo car is a waste to someone as a result of maybe it is an accidental car already. And some of us still see it and repair it, recycle it, refurbish it, and we turn it to our own. So it is only when it is unwanted, that is when we say it is a waste. But if it is still wanted, it is still useful to you, it is not a waste. So we have different type of waste. That is the municipal waste. Those are the waste we generate from our houses, like our vegetable waste, our nylons, our plastics, our paper, and some special waste that we also generate from our houses. So we also have the hazardous waste, which can be which has the characteristics of being ignitable. So when we're talking about ignitable, that is, it has high flammability rates, it is reactive, it is corrosive, it is toxic, and we have our industrial waste. Also, we even have some hospital waste too, which are also managed by some experts, because the way they manage the waste in the hospital is different from the normal way we manage other solid waste. So if you what's happening? Okay. So when we're talking about waste management, this deals with the act of controlling the generation of the waste. How we store the waste, how do we collect the waste, how do we transport, how do we transfer, how do we process, how do we dispose the waste. All these are things we see as one of the key elements of waste management. So waste management is the act of controlling the generation, the storage, the collection, the transportation and transfer of waste, and how we process and dispose the waste. So generally, when we're talking about waste management, we are trying to, the concept behind waste management is for us to prevent the adverse effect of public health. Because currently now, there was a research I think I worked on, and I got to discover that, when we are talking about air pollution, there are some people today that have been hospitalized that are suffering from lung cancer, that are suffering from heart diseases, they are suffering from various respiratory diseases, but not because they have ever smoked alcohol, smoked cigarettes before, Indian name before, or any form of hard drugs before. But the reason why they are victims of it is because of the inhalation of toxic emission from dump sites due to the emission and the inhalation of porous air quality. Like for instance, now looking at people living around Olushosu dump sites in how will I call it? In is it Maitu or Mai-12? Olushosu. And people living at Solus dump site at Igondo, they are prone to being exposed to volatile organic compounds, aside the greenhouse gases that they might be. Particles are also there that they can also inhale as a result. As a result of the poor siting sites with the community due to urbanization and industrialization that has been happening. And due to this, started a lot of different health respiratory diseases, such as kidney diseases, lung cancer, and so on and so forth, without even be a primary smoker, without even smoking or anything, but just because of the presence of volatile organic compounds out there. So when we're talking about solid waste, part of the solid waste management is how do we manage our waste so that at the end of everything, people who are out there are not being affected as a result of the waste we personally are generating in our houses. So, scope of waste management, as I earlier said, I said the scope of waste management will be covering the it? How do we prevent it? How do we manage? How do we process? How do we transport? How do we transfer till we get to the stage of the disposal? So all these things are things we will be discussing about as we go on. And this involves multiple stakeholders. Part of the stakeholders are also we ourselves who are generating it, because we generating it ourselves has the major role to play, in the sense that we can also look for a way to reduce and minimize the waste. And even the best hierarchy is for us to even see how we could prevent some waste, so that at the end of everything, it won't make the environment so sustainable. Because most of us today, due to our anthropogenic activities, we are already degrading the environment, which ends might not make it sustainable for the future generation. So in the course of this, we'll be talking about the planning. So in the stage of planning, for we that we are producers of, we are product producers, people who, we that we are manufacturers. From our planning stage, we start about the circular economy by trying to ensure that when we are at the life cycle of our product, this product we're about to produce, what is the life cycle? Where will it end? Who will use it? How long will it last? I know of a bakery in my area there on the island. The nylon that they usually use for packaging their bread is not just the nylon that you can dispose. Even the nylon is very fashionable, that at the end of everything, when you are done consuming your bread, you can still reuse the nylon, in the sense that you can use it to go to shop for shopping, and so on and so forth. So you as a producer, you as a manufacturer, when you are about to design your product, always think of the life cycle of the product. This product, how can it be reused? This product, what can it still be used for when the content or the produce inside the wrap has already been used? So all these things needs to be put in place at the planning stage, because the moment we start thinking of the life cycle of the product, this also helps us to also know how to manage, how to retrieve, how to recover all this waste, which most companies today are already doing. At least I know of Coca-Cola, so that most of their products now, you would see their plastic. It is not more thick like how it's always be before. Previously, their plastic are always very thick, but now their plastic, even with key or your finger, you can even tear their plastic, just to show that they're already thinking of how to make the plastic more lighter, so as to help for ease of recycling. And aside that, they even have several collection points where they also retrieve and recover those plastic on the field there. So also administration control. Most of us in our offices, we've already exposed our company to cyber theft. We've exposed our company to a lot of hazard out there as a result of the fact that some sensitive documents, we don't know how to manage them, in the sense that when we are done with the papers, we just think the next thing for us to do is to throw them inside the waste bin and just dispose them. And meanwhile, all these things are also exposing and also adding to the waste, or the quantity of the waste that is going to the landfill out there. So have you ever thought of it in your place of work, whereby you have a different color code waste bin for sorting of your waste? Because in most of our places today, we have paper generated waste, we have the plastic generated waste, we have the leftover food, which is those biodegradable waste, we have bottle waste that we can always sort out, even in our houses. Even in our houses, all these things can be sorted. The papers, I know of Picnic. Sorry, I'm calling out companies, but these are examples of companies I know they are already doing this, whereby the containers of their canned milk and things like that, they try to ensure they shred it before disposing it out there, so as to prevent counterfeit products. A lot of people are out there today that are making counterfeit products as a result of some of the waste that probably due to what will I call it? A mistake in the design process that we've just disposed out there, which at the end of everything, some people pick it up and utilizes it to use it to make a counterfeit product. So hence, when we are talking about our administrative controls, we try as much as possible to start the attitude of also sorting out our waste. We should also try the attitude of also trying to see how we could reduce our waste aside the engineering design, which is the use of modern technologies. Like I know of Australia, I think Australia are also already going through e-waste. They also have e-kiosks of managing waste. Even some of these big modernized developed countries, they even have a system in place whereby from your house, when you dump your waste inside those modern technologies, it automatically sorts out the waste itself and then send it down to where it needs to be sent to. So looking at this, it is expected of us, we can play our own role. It's not until even we get those modern technology machines, we can also start learning how to sort out our waste, even from the comfort of our homes. And also, we talk about the legal function. You know, for instance, there are some companies that they are third party or a contracted company in helping to design some products for some company, like maybe a packaging, nylon, and so on and so forth. So if the waste are not well managed, and at the end of everything, it ends up leading out there, the waste that you did not manage well can still be used against you in case of legal functions and so on and so forth. And aside that, if your waste are well managed, it can also be as a source of revenue for you. That is, it can be a means of financial source for you. That is why I said kudos to the best waste managers, our mothers, whereby when they are done using a plastic, they can use that same plastic to get groundnut oil. When they are done using and taking chocolate in a container, some of them use it to keep their jewelries, and so on and so forth, trying to reuse so as to prevent the waste that goes down to the dump site. So objective of this waste management courses, to reduce waste management effects on health. So mostly today, as we are talking about global warming, we are talking about climate change. All these are majorly due to the pollutions that we are polluting the earth as a result of our anthropogenic activities, either through wastewater, either through integrated solid waste, either through what will I call it? Air pollution. All these things have an effect on us. That is why during the olden days, our forefathers, we see people living more than 100 years. But now, immediately you click 40, and you're already clicking 41, 42. You're already living an extra, is it extra life or extra time, I will call it, as a result of what? The inhalation of those things we've inhaled, and the contamination of even our waters that we are consuming, which is having negative health effects on us. Also, this objective of this waste management is also to reduce waste effects on environment, e.g. global warming. As at pre-industrial era, the temperature of our destiny was not even up to 0.5 degrees Celsius. But as today, the temperature is already heading close to 3.5, 4.5 degrees Celsius. Everywhere is getting hot, to the extent that even during the sunning period, some of us even almost go naked just because of the rate at which the heat is very harsh at us. So it's also to support economic development. Now, when we talk about waste management also helps in supporting economic development. For instance, look at, there are a lot of incidents that has happened in the sense that when waste are not well managed, it ends up leading to cases of destruction of socio-economic activity. A very good example is Solus dump site that is at Igondo. Most of the companies, most of the industries, most of the business centers that are there have been closed down because of the porous and the toxic or the toxic smell that is being emanated from that Solus dump site. Even some beach are not more attractable for tourism anymore, because when you get to some beach today, it is tons of plastic that will be welcoming you. Say, Mr. Wali, you are welcome, sir. Tons of plastic. Because of what? Because we choose not to manage our plastic well. We choose not to know how to recycle our plastic and see how they are well managed. All these things are leading to loss of job for some people, because looking at the tourism effect, of the example I just gave, some people have lost their job as a result of that because of poor waste management. Even some people, fishermen, have lost their job as a result of poor waste management too. Some companies don't even treat their water. They just release their used water into the aquatic body without even treating it. And at the end of everything, this end up killing fishes in the aquatic body, in the oceans, in the sea. And as a result of this had made some people, some habitat go into extinction. This had made some people even lost their job. So the objective of waste management is also to help support economic development and to promote superior quality of life. As I rightly said earlier, for everything we do, it has a negative effect on the quality of our life. Hence, you see during the old days, whereby there is trees everywhere and there, they eat fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, they have more high quality of life. Unlike now, that most of what we are eating now are already full of lead. Even I know of one of my lecturer who even did a research on a lead content on vegetables that are planted close to the road. So looking at it, as a result of carbon monoxide and coal that is going there, by the time the rain is bringing it down, the rain is bringing down a lot of toxic substances at the end of everything, even making some of the vegetables and things we are eating, even making it even not safe for us to eat. And to also prevent legal implication and fines, that is one of the reasons why we are also trying to manage waste. Legal implication from regulatory bodies like Federal Ministry of Environment, NESRA, and co. LASEPA, OGUNPEC, and co. So what are the functional elements of waste management? The first thing is the what? The waste generation. And how can we manage our waste? If you don't know the root cause of something, you can never find a perfect solution to it. So that is, try to first identify your waste. When you identify your waste, you then know, okay, are this waste, are they toxic? That is the period when we start saying we are sorting out our waste. Because in the course of sorting it out, that is when you know the waste that are flammable, that are ignitable, that are toxic, that are biodegradable. Then you sort them out. That is what we call the on-site handling, trying to sort them out. Then store them, the ones that need to be stored for recycling, you store them for recycling. Even some that you can even turn to compost for you to use and scoop for fertilizer can also be done, and so on and so forth. Also, the waste collection. How do you evacuate your waste is also one of the things we'll be discussing about. How do you transfer them? How do you transport them? All those things are also things we'll also be talking about. So what are the hierarchy of waste? So when we're talking about the hierarchy of waste, the most preferred hierarchy of waste is the prevention. That is, try as much as possible to prevent the generation of waste, because waste can be prevented. And how can they be prevented? By buying only what you need and not what you want. Some of us, for instance, when we are going to Tantalizer, Chicken Republic, Swiss Sensation, The Place, and co., we buy almost every now and then single plates, single disposable plates. But there's nothing bad if you start the culture of carrying your cooler into Mr. Biggs. There's nothing bad if you start carrying your cooler into KFC. With this, you're already preventing what we call the single-use plastic, because by doing so, you've started prevention. Some of us go to the market. By the time we get to the market, you want to buy pepper, they give you nylon. You want to buy fish, they give you nylon. You want to buy this, they give you nylon. You want to at the end of everything, all this nylon is going back to the dump site. How about you going to the market with your what will I call it? Is it your market bag, or what will I call it? Sorry, I think it's market bag. Am I right, Mr. Wali? Your market bag. I'm taking it along with you to the market. Hello, am I still audible, please?
Yes, you're audible,
Yes, you
Mr.
are.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sas. Thank you so much. So when we talk about prevention, so all these things are things we need to start doing. How can we prevent them? We can prevent them by trying to start using renewable energy. Instead of you buying generator, burning fossil fuels, you can also go solar. Solar has its advantage. It's also help in reducing the global warming because the heat that is already trapped in the atmosphere is what the solar panels are using to generate supply for you. Like Egbin power plants now, they also have an attitude of, how will I call it? There are days they prevent you from driving to work, whereby driving off drive day, or how did they use that term? So looking at it, all these things are just to prevent the emission of carbon, whereby 2 days in a week, all your staffs are not allowed to drive down to work. Join public transport, join staff bus, all these things can happen. That is when you see cases whereby Madam Olubukola, she's going to Yanokpaja. I'm also going to Yanokpaja. Mr. Wali is going to Yanokpaja. Madam Doris is going to Yanokpaja. All of us will enter our car separately and will now be creating emission. While we can just join Mr. Wali. Mr. Wali should drive us on Monday. Madam Olubukola should drive us on Tuesday. Madam Doris should drive us on Wednesday. I will drive on Thursday in my car. All these things are ways we can prevent the emission of carbons. All these things are ways. So think of ways you can prevent. First, identify the waste. First, identify the effect. Then look for ways how you can prevent them, so as to reduce the health effect that is causing us. Also, we also talk about the use. Reuse is the second on the hierarchy of control. So when we're talking about reusing, some of the we can also reuse, like the bag about it on the island, whereby when I buy so sorry about that. I didn't know I've been disconnected. I think a call missed. A call. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. Please go ahead. We're enjoying
Yes,
the place.
you can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me reshare my slide. I'm so sorry. Is this where I am? Okay. So as I was saying, I said, okay. Can you see my slide now?
Yes. Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So as I was saying, okay, I think this is where I am. Yeah. So there's difference between reuse and recycling.
I can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. There's difference between reuse and recycling. Reuse is that the original state of that product, you are repurposing it for something else. Like for instance now, my Coca-Cola plastic, the same plastic, the way it is, I can use it to buy palm oil. The same plastic, the way it is, I can use it to buy groundnut oil. The same plastic, the way it is, I can use it to put water inside my refrigerator. That is reusing. Are we there? But recycling is that product, you are using it to make another product entirely. Are we together? Hello?
Go ahead,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
We can-
yes. Fire
Agreed.
on. We are together.
So recycling, we are using it to make another product entirely. That is when you see some people, when they gather plastic bottles together, at the end of everything, when they recycle it, they can bring it out as a new product like Packer. Sometimes some people might even use it to make another plastic. I know of Viva company, their line-on, there is a woman, the woman is even trending on Twitter. She uses their line-on, she uses it to make school bag. She uses it to make fabrics. That is what we call recycling. So reuse is that same product the way it is. I am using it as it is for another purpose. But recycling is to changing the form at which the plastic is to another product entirely. It can even still be that same form of plastic, but it's not that I'm using that particular one for another purpose. So when we now talk about recovery generally talks about energy recovery, composting. That is when we start talking about biogas, trying to bring out energy from the waste. For instance, now some of us are biodegradable waste, like our food, like our leftover food. We can even dig a pit, keep it there, let it start decaying, composting, and we can scoop it and use it for fertilizer. That is recovery. Some of us, our biodegradable waste, we can use it to form biogas, whereby this gas can be used as cooking gas. This gas can be used for the purpose of powering our generator. This gas can even be used to power some of our engines, generate electricity. So that's recovery. Under recovery, that's where we have incineration and so on and so forth. So just like one excursion I went to then at the Republic of Benin, Port Novo, there was an hotel. So this hotel in particular, what they do there is very funny and amazing. They were able to channel the excretal of everybody. They were able to channel it to a place where they treat it for biogas. So that's biogas. The gas is what they use in generating the electricity in that hotel. So the sludge, which is the leftover of the biogas, they end up processing it to turn it to fish feed, whereby fishes are being fed out of it. They also process it to form fertilizer from their pig dungs and all those things to fertilizers and farming. Even funny enough, something amazing happened. I know some of you will feel irritated, but I need to tell you the truth. Something amazing happened. They are even very good at wastewater management. And initially, when I saw their water, although I drank the water was so clean. But at the long run, when I learned the source of where the water is, I felt like as if my heart wants to pop out, because I end up finding out that the water was the wastewater. They end up treating it. They treat the water to be drinkable. And that is what they are now packing into their portable plastic again and still reselling. So waters can also be what? Can also be treated. So this also helps to manage the waste water by recycling it too. Mr. Waliu can be my witness. Coca-Cola does something too. Their own wastewater, after they've treated it, they also send it to a fish pond, whereby they use the fish pond as a way of testing if the water is now safe to be released into the environment. So looking at it, these are means of recovery. And when we're talking about disposal, that is always the last resort. And we should always try as much as possible that anything we should have explore all the hierarchy of control, from prevention, from reuse, recycling, recovery, before we dispose our waste into the environment. But today, most of us, we are victims of it. Some of us does not even have baskets inside our cars. Immediately we eat gala, we drop the line on through the distance. Immediately we drink Fanta, we throw it away. Immediately we do this, we do that. At the end of everything, all this anthropogenic activity is gathering together to go there to start destroying and degrading the environment, which is resulting to the global warming and the climate change effects that we are suffering today. So when we talk about solid waste impact on global warming, we have different types of gases. I mentioned earlier, we even have some volatile organic compounds like benzene, toluene, and co that has been released into the atmosphere. We have particulate matter, but here we'll be focusing more on greenhouse gases. So when we're talking about the greenhouse gases, it is being emitted from, we have different types of greenhouse gases, like your methane. This is emitted from biodegradable waste. Our water vapor, our CO2, our nitrous oxide, all those are greenhouse gases, which H2S are also greenhouse gases, which when they get to the atmosphere, they end up accumulating there in the atmosphere and trapping the radiation of the Earth. Now, looking at this Earth and the image in this picture, you will see that there is a radiation of sun, that is solar radiation from the sun to the Earth. And at the end of it, when the solar radiation gets to the Earth, when it is time for this solar radiation to evaporate back into the ozone, all these greenhouse gas molecules, they end up trapping them into our solar, they end up trapping them. A very good example is our car. As our car is, when it is very sunny, the sun can easily penetrate into our car. But unfortunately, by the time the sun is over, the solar energy that has been radiated into your car is end up being trapped and will not be released until you open the doors or wind down the windows. Hence, inside the car will be very hot. Inside the car will be very hot. It's just the same similar technique of what is happening when we talk about greenhouse gases that is trapping the solar radiation back into the atmosphere, which at the end of everything leads to global warming. And all the causes of greenhouse gases, this can be as a result of burning of fossil fuel. Today, most of us are victims of burning of fossil fuels, even though some of us might not be doing it in an enormous way, the way refineries are doing. We are doing it in one way or the other with our cars. We are doing it in one way or the other with our vehicles, with our generators, and so on and so forth. Aside that, deforestation today, just because I want to build house, urbanization, industrialization, and so on and so forth, most of our trees are already being cut down. Unfortunately, all of us will remember this when we're in secondary school, whereby they tell us we human beings breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Why trees breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen? But unfortunately, when we've cut down all the trees in our vicinity, who is going to breathe in that carbon dioxide for us? Automatically, by the time we are cutting off trees, we are cutting off our flowers and so on and so forth, just because we want to expand our houses, want to expand our road, want to expand our bridges and so on and so forth. It ends up having a negative effect on us because the volume of CO2 we keep accumulating in the atmosphere, which at the end of everything, it ends up trapping solar radiation and resulting to global warming. Also, our activities, farming, as a result of our fertilizers, nitrous oxide are used for fertilizers, which is also one of the contributors to greenhouse gas effect. Our animal dungs also releases methane. Our food waste also releases methane into the atmosphere, which at the end of everything also had to the effect of greenhouse gases. Aside that, we also have some of our industries today, probably due to some regulatory misconduct, because there are some regulatory commissions that are supposed to be monitoring the quality of the waste that we are releasing into the atmosphere, releasing into the water bodies, releasing into our dump sites. But as a result of bribery and corruption, some of them when they get to the industries, they give them probably a brown envelope. They end up failing to monitor the quality. Hence, some of this industry took advantages of this and end up keep releasing harmful gases, harmful water, harmful solid materials into the atmosphere, which end up having negative effects on our aquatic body and making some of our plants lead to extinction and reducing biodiversity. So how do we reduce greenhouse gases? How do we reduce greenhouse gases? This is where some of us should start learning. You can even start jotting down. You can make money from this. How do we reduce greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases can be reduced by ensuring we create a plastic collection point. Now, looking at these plastic collection points that we are talking about, I know Coca-Cola does this. They cite one of their plastic collection points in Ikeja local government. They have their plastic collection points in Unilag, where students even pack their plastic there to collect meal tickets and so on and so forth. So when we talk about plastic collection points, in this, we are trying to use it to reduce the quantity of plastic going out there because plastic is not biodegradable. For plastic to decay, it will take about 450 years for one single plastic to decay. Come to think of the number of plastic you and I have dropped into the atmosphere. Some of us, in our lifetime, we've dropped more than 1 million plastic into the atmosphere. Now times 450 years for a single one to decay. Think of what we are already causing the atmosphere. Planting of trees and flowers. Trees and flowers can also help us in reducing all this global warming, the greenhouse gases. By the time you plant trees, by the time you plant flowers, it helps us remove carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which will also have, in one way or the other, help in reducing this. That is why I said kudos to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have drastically helped this economy in making us, in one way or the other, have a pure air quality. Because of the cost of fuel, some of us that always are fond of driving every now and then, probably if you want to go to the toilet, you drive. You want to go to the kitchen, you drive. Some of us have reduced the rate at which we drive and started joining public transportation. So in one way or the other, it has also helped. Even some banks, some industries have started managing the way they manage their generator, which also burn fossil fuel. So in this, in one way or the other, it has also helped improve the air quality. So planting of trees and flowers is something you and I can do. Don't wait until you have a land. You can even plant it inside plastic. You can plant it inside buckets. You can plant it inside pots. Plastic and flowers can be planted into all these things, whereby at the end of everything, it also helps to remove carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We have about 64 of us on this call. If 64 of us choose after this training to go and plant one tree, one flower, trust me, it will go a long way in also helping us to what? Remove carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Use of solar-powered electrical bulbs as security lights. This also helps because by the time you're using solar-powered electrical bulb, it also helps us to reduce the rate of global warming because the solar radiation in the atmosphere is what the solar-powered panel uses in powering your houses, empowering your bulbs. Some of us will be very conversant to these solar street lights. The UBA Bank always showcase every December at Adiola Odeku to beautify VI there at Adiola Odeku. Trust me, they are not just doing it for free. They are using it to even get fund. You even see some people, they will gather people going to the barbish to go and start packing plastic. Trust me, they are not doing it for free. They are also using it to get fund. Some of you today, if you have a land that you are not ready to build on, I can also teach you how to do carbon offsetting, carbon trading, carbon netting with your land, whereby you can plant trees, you can plant flowers there, and at the end of everything, be getting climate fund. Everything will be discussed in the course of this training. So are you saying that while you're also here, you're also learning how to make money? So also introduction of driving free days. That is, you can introduce that to your place of work. Even some of us, we can also, I know some of us are very rich, that no matter how expensive the cost of fuel is, we will still be able to purchase it. But let's also turn it to an habit, whereby once in a while, we choose to not to drive to work, we choose to follow public transportation, we choose to follow official staff bus. With this, we can also help in reducing the emission of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. Reduction of waste to landfill by sorting, reusing, and recycling. There's nothing bad if every one of us have a different color code waste bin in our houses, in our offices, whereby we sort out our waste. Those plastics that you think you've selected, I'll also show you places whereby you can take it to, you can sell it and use it to make money. I can tell you for free that plastic, the white transparent plastic, are even very, very profitable than the colored plastic. You can sell it at a higher rate, whereby you make more money from it. So your plastic can also be a source of generation. Even though if it is a little money it is bringing in, you can also even use it to refill your gas at home. Some of you, your biogases, you can generate it at home from your municipal waste that you are generating, whereby you don't even need to buy gas anymore for your cooking gas. All this, if we can start learning or cultivating the habit of sorting, reusing, and recycling. Also, creation of recovery points, whereby you can recover your waste, which I gave an earlier example. Use of your municipal waste to generate biogas, and use of your municipal waste to form compost for fertilizer for farming, like your biodegradable waste. You can compost them, scoop them to use it to do fertilizer, and plant wonderful vegetables at home, which can also save you from the cost of the inflation of food. And currently, I think there's an innovation of our human in Nigeria planting in their houses now. So let's also key into this, just for us to also get fresh food to eat, which will be more beneficial, more nutritious than the one that they are using chemical fertilizer to plant. So what are the decomposition time for single-use and styrofoam? Some of us, you can see, I intentionally want to add this slide to it because of we that we love going to Mr. Biggs, because of we that we love buying takeaway. All these things are causing damage to the environment. It is leading to the degradation of the environment. Single-use plastic, it will cost single-use plastic approximately 450 years for just a single plastic to decompose. So as I earlier said, if you are dropping plastic every day into the atmosphere and you've not started cultivating the habit of seeing how you can gather it and send it to those people that can recycle or gather it to reuse, you will end up seeing it that for the fact that we are only causing more damage by adding 450 years of damage to the environment for each single plastic we drop into the environment. Also, this is our styrofoam, our takeaway plastic that we usually say, it causes 500 years or more to break down. And in many cases, it will never decompose. So instead of you taking this takeaway plastic and causing it 500 years for this polystyrene foam to decompose, why don't you take your cooler along with you to Tantalizer? Nobody will beat you. Now your food you won't buy. Now my cooler I brought. Thank you. So also, in case, as I earlier said, I said some of us that have land, how can we start generating money? Through carbon offsetting. These are some of the recommended trees that we can plant. Redwood is one of the recommended trees we can plant. Redwood can approximately inhale 1,360 kg of CO2 annually. Even this Douglas can, for one single per acre of it, can take about 5,443 kilograms, and so on and so forth. So the same thing with ox, the same thing with this thing. I even know of one of our ESG leader that took up the initiative. She's working in 7UP, whereby every staff of 7UP, they planted their own tree and named the tree Ishishwan, Akim's tree, Waliu's tree, David's tree. All of us can also bring up these innovations in our various places of work. Let us start planting tree. Trust me, you might think you are not emitting carbon because you are not using big generators and so on and so forth. But in one way or the other, you have staff bus that is going out there. In one way or the other, your staffs have vehicles that is transporting to and fro from work. At the end of everything, you are still adding carbon there, because by the time you start saying we should start calculating our carbon footprint, we will see that the carbon we are emitting in a year, in a month, in our companies, it is very, very, very porous. That is, it is even adding to the damage of what we are all suffering through today. So it is expected of us to also take these innovations to our various places of work. We can plant different trees. iPhone also did this. iPhone has one of the biggest sustainable forests in Africa here. Apple company, whereby they pay for people to do carbon trading with them, carbon netting with them. So if your university has a lot of flowers, plants, trees, they can also go to industries that need them for carbon netting, and this can also be traded for ESG goals. So these are some of the recycling companies in Nigeria that when you have gathered your plastic, you can also sell your plastic too. We have the Shanga Dati Co Limited, whereby they can take your plastic, your metal, your paper, the recycle point, the Recycler, PureChem, West African Ceramics, EcoFuture, Green Wet, and so Waste Wet in Ikorodu, and so on and so forth. We can always Google search recycling company in Nigeria, where we can always gather, take our paper, our waste products, the waste we generate, where we can always use it to also get money in return. That is Waste Wet. Now look at this platform. You can copy this link as much as you can, and trust me, go verify it. You will be paid in dollars, you'll be paid in pounds if you can key into this too. So for us that said want to start planting trees, you can assess and do carbon offset programs, support restoration projects, and assess climate funding through this. Some of your projects can be solar projects, whereby you can do solar projects for a whole community and say that you are using it to what? To reduce global warming. You can also use it to get climate funding. You can plant trees, say you are using it to reduce CO2. You can use it to get climate funding. You can pack some people to go to the sea to clean plastic, to go to the ocean to gather plastic. And this plastic, there's a way they weigh it. Then you can sell it to these people. At the end of everything, in return, they also pay you for making the environment cleaner. World Bank funding programs, you can get your money there. Global Environment Facility, you can get money from there just because you are making the environment cleaner. Climate Investment Fund, Green Climate Fund, Clemeco, and Pashama. Even, I think Clemeco, you can even partner with them to fund what will I call it? Sustainable projects, whereby they will pay you in pounds for your project. So let's also explore all these websites that is on the screen for us to also make other source of income for ourselves. So why is climate change a problem? The reason why climate change is a problem is because of the increase in global temperatures, which has reduced the reduction of sea ice. And also, it has also led to the problem of some animals going into extinction, some plants going into extinction because of their inability to have enough time to adapt to the new condition of the heat, to adapt to the new condition of the rainfall, to adapt to the new condition of the anthropogenic effect that we've already caused. So as a result of that, some of these aquatic animals have gone into extinction, just like oil spillage in Niger Delta. It has led to some of the aquatic animals going into extinction. No matter how fast we act, the global temperature is set to continue rising as a result of greenhouse gases. because they are already in the atmosphere. So it is expected of us to do as much as possible to see how we could create much differences. So let's start thinking, how can we create differences? How do you think we can reduce the 0.415 degrees Celsius, get close to 0.415 degrees Celsius of the pre-industrial era? Because currently, today, as we are speaking, everywhere is hot. Things are going nuts. Mother Earth is crying. So let's look at this scenario, please. This is just a recent flash flood incident that happened in Lagos recently, whereby rain fell recently. But majorly, this flash flood is as a result of some of us activity. Some of us in our vicinity, in our area, we will see our neighbor going out there, dumping waste inside the drainage. We will not challenge them. We will say, no be my problem now. No be my problem. Maybe now they throw them inside gutter. At the end of everything, all these things are having negative effect on us. You would see people causing more waste, causing more damage to the environment, but yet we overlook at the end of everything, all these things are having negative effects. Looking at this flood, is it this, most of these people, some of their cars, their brain box, this thing will get damaged because of the flood that this water is suffering. This is one of the major things we are also suffering in Lekki, Ajah, Ibeju. It's flood everywhere as a result of poor drainage system, due to the fact that some of us, our activities has also blocked all the drainage channels. Some of us even go as far as even building house in the waterways, canals. We block canals with our big gigantic structures. Please, let's be an advocacy of change. Let's start advocating. Even it starts from us. Start advocating from your neighbors to the church and let them know that all these things have all negative effects on us. So waste management technologies. So as I earlier said, it has been long recognized based on the hierarchy of management controls that in order of preference, it consists of what? The prevention, minimization, recycling, reuse, biological treatment, incineration, landfill, and disposal. So we have different modern waste management techniques, which I've earlier mentioned, which are the biological reprocessing, dump in a sanitary landfill. I think Lagos State just partnered with a company that wants to start helping us to create a sanitary landfill at Olushosun. Also, the incineration, the waste compression, and the fertilizing of the soil. So what is circular economy? So when we're talking about circular economy is a model of resource whereby we think of from the production to the consumption in an economy that involves sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, recycling, and existing materials and products for as long as possible. So what is the concept of circular economy trying to tell us about? The circular economy concept is trying to tell us how we can longevify the use of what? Of our products. That is why I said the scope of waste management all starts from the planning stage, whereby you start thinking of the life cycle of the product, you start thinking of where would this product end, where would this waste end, and start trying to ensure that the products you are making out there is of high quality grade, so that by the time people will keep reusing, and reusing, so that at the end of everything, the full utilization of the life cycle of that product can be achieved before it end up getting back to be disposed. So why circular economy? The reason why we are advocating for circular economy is to protect the environment. With circular economy, it will help in the reduction of greenhouse gas emission that is responsible for global warming, hence climate change. Just as I've earlier said, which I gave kudos to our mothers, most of our waste, if you reuse it, if you recycle them, at the end of everything, if it doesn't get out there, it can also help us to reduce the emission of methane. It will help us reduce the emission of CO2. It will help us reduce the emission of nitrous oxide, which at the end of everything leads to global warming and resulting to the climate change effects that we are suffering today. It also helps reduce raw material dependence. Why do I say raw material dependence? Instead of you going into to mining, trying to get new set of raw materials for a product. Some of these products can be reused. Then it will reduce the raw material dependence. Some of these products can be repaired. It will reduce to raw material dependence. Some of these products can be recycled. By the time, instead of me going to the farm to start getting cotton material, getting fiber, and all those long process of processing, I can easily use my plastic bottle, recycle it, and turn it to a packer. I can easily use my canned milk. I can recycle it and turn it. I can turn my canned milk. I can turn it to a pot. It can be melted to a pot. So looking at it, it helps us to reduce the raw material dependence. That's why I said kudos to our mothers. Some of our mothers, the canned milk, instead of them throwing it away, they open it, they start using it to make mai. Some of them use our plastic to start using it to buy groundnut oil, as I've earlier said. So it also helps to create jobs and save consumers money. As I've earlier said, instead of you going to go and start buying new plastic to get your groundnut oil, it will save you the cost. Instead of you going to buy cooking gas, your biogas can be used as a cooking gas when you've already when you've already processed your biodegradable waste into gases. Instead of you going out there to start getting vegetables, you can even use that your biodegradable waste to form compost, which can be used as fertilizer to plant vegetables in your house. By doing this, it is also saving you consumers money. And aside that, it is creating job, because by the time you pack this plastic, you recycle it, some people are also making money. All those abokis that you see moving around, picking those plastic, it is creating jobs for them, because someone is out there trying to redesign that product. Someone is out there trying to recycle that product, and at the end of everything, using it to make money. Now, everybody, please, let's look close to this screen. And let's start from raw material. Can everybody see raw materials? It is painted green where my cursor is moving around, if you are seeing my cursor. Now, this is where the planning stage commences from. At the point of you getting the raw material to make a product, it is expected of you to start thinking about the circular economic model. And the circular economic model is emphasizing on less raw material, less waste, and fewer emissions. So when you get your raw material and you are about to use it to make a product, it is always advisable to try as much as possible to get a sustainable product. That is, when you are making the product, try as much as possible to have the mindset of sustainable design when you are creating the product from the raw material. So by the time you are planning, during the planning stage, have the mindset of sustainable design. With this, it will make it more visible and make the circular economy much easier, having the interest of ensuring that there is a high quality at that. So raw material, when you get your raw material in the planning stage, ensure you have a sustainable design. Then the sustainable design will end up leading to the production of the product. That product that you've now produced will now be distributed for consumption. At the point of consumption, the consumer, which is you and I, should also ensure that we try as much as possible to get a product that we can reuse, to get as much as possible to get a product that we can repair. Some of the products that we're even throwing inside the dump site, some people need it out there. We can even dash it out for someone who needs it. That's why I said waste is only a waste to you when it is unwanted, but it is useful to some people. Some of us have these people that they cock barrel, that they usually come, they will give you bath to collect your clothes that you're no more wearing. Instead, you can pack some of these clothes to orphanage home. You can pack the clothes to prison yard. You can pack it to less privileged people, so that you, at the same time, you are reducing the waste going out there, while it is also being useful for someone. So let's try cultivating the habit of reuse, repair when we are consuming the products that we must have bought. Also, the collection stage. In the form of the collection stage, this is where we try as much as possible to preach what we call the sorting. At this point, we try as much as possible to sort the waste. At the point of collection, which waste can I still reuse? In the point of collection, for instance, my food waste, I can still reuse it for biogas. So why am I sending it to the landfill? For instance, my plastic, I can still use it for this. I can recycle it. I can use it to make money. Why am I sending it to the landfill? My papers, I can still use it for something else. Why am I sending it to the landfill? So at the point of collection, always let's try to cultivate the habit of sorting. Trust me, if all of us can take this to our places of work, try to start telling them how to sort, how to do this. Funny enough, I did it, and I think my colleague is on this call. She can be my witness. Whereby in my place of work, the plastic, I told our janitors to be sorting it out. They can sell it to use it to make money, even though if it will be adding to their transportation fare. So looking at it, sorting will also help. By the time you start sorting out, it will reduce the waste that end up going there. And funny enough, it will also save you the cost. You will also be paying LOMA. It will also save you the cost you'll be paying PSP, because the more your waste, the more the PSP charges you. So by the time you could try as much as possible to reduce the waste going to the landfill through sorting, using some of them as compost, it also helps. Then, although, just like we are safety professionals, we know no matter how robust your risk assessment is, we always have a residual risk. Likewise, we always have a residual waste. There are some waste that no matter what we do, we cannot still reuse them. They will still have to get to the landfill. Then we send them to the landfill here. And those ones that we know we can recycle, those ones that we know we can reuse, we send them for waste management. So what are the benefits of circular economy? The ideal and concept of circular economy have been studied extensively in academia, business, government over the past 10 years. And it has been gaining popularity because it can help to what? Minimize carbon emission. It can help to reduce the consumption of raw materials. It can principally increase the sustainability of consumption, reduces the use of non-renewable energy, just like what most of us have started keying into. Some of us have started using biogas to generate electricity in our houses. We're reducing the cost we pay NEPA. Some of us have started using solar-powered this thing, reducing this. Some of us have started using solar-powered vehicles. Some of us are even using scooters, and so on and so forth. And it also helps to lower carbon emission. And at the same time, circular economy is trying to aim at zero waste, because we know zero waste is possible. It also provides benefits for the consumers, financial benefit. Aside financial benefit, by the time you plant trees, you plant flowers, you plant vegetables, it also gives you a very good quality of life because you're eating fresh meals, fresh food. It also helps you to reduce to cleanse the air quality. By the time you plant flowers, you plant trees, it's also help you to remove the carbon monoxide in the atmospheres around your vicinity. And it's also open new opportunities and new market prospects for companies. Yeah, so the circular economy is based on 3 principles, which are designed to eliminate waste and pollution, circulate products and materials at their highest value. Look at that statement, highest value. That's why I said, when you are designing your product, you should try as much as possible to make sure you have the mindset of making it of high quality so that it can be reused, and reused, recycled and recycled before it is being disposed. It can also help regenerate nature. By the time all of us today start planting trees, by the time all of us today start afforestation, we end up seeing some of the animals that has gone into extinction, they will start coming back. By the time some of us take it as a project to go to the sea, to go to the ocean, to go to our rivers, to clean up the plastics that has been dropped inside there as a result of erosion, you would end up seeing it also give breeding space for aquatic organisms, because the load of this waste in the ocean bodies also reduce the penetration of oxygen into the water, and hence it start killing some of these aquatic animals that could not sustain it. Above all, it's upon we, and in conclusion, We all have our roles to play. Now look at this person who just finished drinking a can of Fanta. And after drinking a can of Fanta,
Hello, Mr. Hakim. Hello, Hakim. Are you there?
He's playing the video.
Yeah, I know he's playing the video.
yeah, I hope every one of us enjoyed this video. This is the same way most of us, unknowingly or knowingly, we've killed some people with the plastic and the can of Coke that we drop out there. At the end of everything, you will drop some plastic on the floor. A motorcyclist who did not see it will ride on it. And at the end of everything, breaking his leg, breaking his hand. The same way some of us have made some aquatic animals homeless, made some of the aquatic animals go into extinctions just because of our plastic waste that we dropped out there. The same way, some of us have even made some people, some of us homeless, just because your plastic has already resulted to blockage of drainage. And this plastic has led to flood, whereby millions of properties has been damaged as a result of flood, just because we have used our own activity to block the drainage and causing some people to lose their businesses, to lose their source of income, to lose their source of revenue, to lose their source of livelihood, just because of that single plastic we are throwing on the floor. The same way some of us have made some people lose their breadwinner just because of that single plastic we dropped on the floor. By the time they climbed, they are on a bicycle or a motorcycle or whatsoever, they end up having to fall as a result of the plastic you dropped on the floor, which has ended up costing their life. To be candid with you, we all have our roles to play. Do not wait because until when government comes around before you know it is expected of us to clean our drainage. Do not wait until when government comes around before we stop our neighbor who is about to drop waste inside the drainage. Do not wait until when government comes around before we escalate our neighbor who is building a house to block the waterway. Making this climate, making the global warming reduce is a co-responsibility of you and I. And trust me, we only have one earth that we can inhabit, and we don't have any other place where we can go to. So please and please try as much as possible to play your role to ensure that we make our environment more cleaner, more safer, more habitable by ensuring we try as much as possible to explore all the hierarchy of waste management and also having circular economy in mind when we are producing our products. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. That was a perfect presentation. Let us see your responses in the chat room. Let us see your responses in the chat room. That was a wonderful presentation. That was a perfect presentation. That was well delivered. That was well delivered. A wonderful session par excellence, as we have mentioned it before the presentation, that Hakeem Mukhtar is a professional par excellence. He knows his onions and he has delivered excellently. Thank you so much, Hakeem Mukhtar, for this wonderful presentation. It is another call for action. It's another call to action. It's also an opportunity for us to learn. So many things that have been dissected within this 1 hour, 30 minutes, starting from dissecting the basics of waste management to going into in-depth. Within a short period of time, he has educated us on so many aspects. We delivered it, used his methodology, styles, and approach of training to explicitly discuss about this subject matter and how do we prevent, how do we manage our waste, how do we prevent issues of blockage of drainages and the effects on our on the climate. This has been perfectly delivered, and he has also went ahead to also give us practical steps to take and what we can also do as individuals to benefit from the from this issue that is affecting us globally. How we can also generate income by how can we manage our waste to also generate income. I've gone to some months ago this year, I went all the way to Osogbo to go and visit a recycling plant and plastic recycling. And the prof that I met there, who is the owner, made me to understand that he gave me an example of this table water plastic. This table water, he told me that the plastic itself is separate, that they set down separately. The label, the label is own is money separately. The cap on his own is another money separately. That is just for plastic. And he told me how much they sell, how much they manufacture. There is enough of market out there. In fact, they are not even supplying enough. And there's a lot of raw material. So it's a hot market for whoever wants to go into this. And we have always said it, like Hakeem has rightly mentioned, it starts from prevention. Sometimes when we say something, it looks as if we are just being ideal. I made a statement some time ago. I said, when we go to our various events, let's even start from we are the advocates. We that we are the one advocating. Let's look at our event. We are all guilty. Yes, we say we go to Owambe's. We also have our own ceremonies that we do. How many of us we prefer to buy what's it called? A can bottle drink instead of a plastic one? Yeah, we know the can bottle is more expensive, but it is more safer to the environment than the plastic. How many of us we can actually be bold enough to carry our cooler, our warmer to Chicken Republic to go and buy food? It will sound vague, like who is this? Who is this local man bringing cooler to Chicken Republic? But once someone can start a movement and everybody will buy into it. I've not done it, but I still want to gather that momentum, that boldness to go to Chicken Republic with my cooler. We all have a role to play. The issue of plastic is very, very, very important. And Hakeem has mentioned it, what I call the socio-technical system involved in risk management, starting from the top, the government creating policies, procedures, rules, regulations on waste management, down to industries, practices, like he has given examples of some industries and what they do, to organizations, then to companies, and then to individuals, to the citizens. Everybody has a role to play, and Hakeem has dissected this perfectly. Our effect will have either a direct or indirect effect on us at the end of the day. So everybody has a role to play. These have been wonderfully delivered by Hakeem Mukhtar, and we are using this opportunity to specially thank him and appreciate him for this wonderful presentation. Please, Hakeem Mukhtar, please, we are very sorry. What we do now for all our presenters, we also issue them a certificate of appreciation. So before this is a new week, before the middle of the week, you will get a certificate to specially appreciate you for appreciation for being a speaker at our enlightenment sessions. Please, once you get the certificate, help us. And we know I know definitely you post it for people to be aware that
Thank
you
you
have
so much, sir.
you have delivered excellently. I don't think there's anything too hard within these 2 minutes. Yeah, we know that discussion about environment, solid waste management is a whole topic, a whole course on their own. But using this 1 hour, 30 minutes to have said all what you just did now, I drop my cap for you. You've done excellently, and I know everyone here will agree with the fact that Hakeem Mukhtar has excellently delivered this topic. Please put it in the chat room. Let us give him a round of applause again in the chat room. Don't unmute yourself. We know he has done excellently well. He has called our attention to the issue of waste management. He has educated us, created the awareness, and give us that responsibility that we all have a wonderful and individual role to play. Thank you so much, Hakeem Mukhtar, for this. And before we go to, we only invite only 1 or 2 persons to ask questions. But before we go to the question and answer section, let us also make us know that this platform is open to everybody. If you know you have something to say, you have something to deliver, you want to also present yourself, we have created this platform for every professional to learn from. It is not a situation whereby only few people will have the opportunity to be able to express themselves. If you know you have something to say, you have something that you can enlighten us on, Enlightenment Sessions with Aliullah is always there for you. And your videos will be available on YouTube as long as YouTube is still alive. As long as YouTube still exists, your videos will always be there. And you can also make reference to it. Maybe you want to go for an employment, you can make reference to it, copy the link and show your company that you apply for a job that, so look at me, I'm an advocate of safety, I've done this. So this is an opportunity for also you to also promote yourself. Like you have always said, together we can only get better. Not a situation whereby one person will be the only one trying to outshine. There's no need to outshine anybody here. We all have equal opportunities, equal platform for us to always improve in ourselves. And once again, Hakeem Mukhtar, you've done wonderfully well. You are worth every celebration that you get today. Thank you so much for the time. Thanks so much for the opportunity to learn from you. And at this point, if you have any question, 1 or 2 persons in the next 1 or 2 minutes, please let us ask our question or put in our contribution as soon as possible. We hope we don't have any because he has done perfectly well in delivering this discussion. So if you have anything to say or any question, please let us have hand raised.
So thank you so much, Mr. Waliullah. I am very, very grateful. And I say a very big thank you to everyone on the call. So, and I think I need to call out someone. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's the one. Madam Loveline Okoye. I think she's ESG manager for 7UP. So I also want us to applaud her for her initiative of planting trees at 7UP. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's the one.
Here?
Yeah, she is.
Because,
Madam Loveline, can you unmute yourself, please?
Madam Loveline, the madam
of I celebrate you, ma. We are following your footsteps, ma.
Thanks. So this is a huge surprise. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma. You're welcome, ma. So also for the I think you also asked a question. So you can explore.
I did, yes.
Yeah, you can explore this website. And okay, let me go to the page. Is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Yes, please.
Yes, visible.
So
Yes.
it's visible, right? So
Yes.
you can explore this website for using it to make money. So all those trees that you planted at 7-Up. So this website, you can use it for the carbon netting and also use it to make money. So are we seeing the website?
Yes. So please, you can copy the website, please.
So you can copy this website. So it would there are websites that we can also, sorry, I've left the page, that we can also use to make money. So when you get there, there are websites we can use. Even some of us that have personal social responsibility of packing people to the sea, oceans, these websites are also very useful. So when you familiarize yourself to it, you see how it goes. So once
sir,
again, thank you so much, Mr. Waliu, for giving me this opportunity.
Akeem, what of we that we are using solar 100% at
If you are
I
using,
have a
if you are using
question.
solar, are you getting
100% to
100% solar? Yeah, you are also adding, you are also already practicing sustainability.
I know. Money. Now I'm talking about the money aspect now. I know I'm part of sustainability. Where would I
You know,
get
the
my
thing
money?
is, there is a way they do calculate it. So how many, what will I call it? How many solar radiation is your this thing taken away? That's why I said, I think, is this Zenith Bank or UBA Bank in Adiola Odeco? If you see the way they designed that their place, whereby they end up, which English should I use? They use that their solar, they use it to also get fund. You get? So for you, I don't know, but you can still go there and still do more. I know you have a lot of landed properties. Start planting trees. You can use it
Please, guys.
too, Mr. Waliu. Start planting trees. And you can use it for
think-
carbon offsetting. Hmm?
Yeah. So
Credit.
we were expecting to see Mrs. Lovely. We have invited her before. She did excellently well. I think early last year or late last year, or early this year. And we are still expecting her again. She will become, I know she's very busy. And also remember that this is going to be a weekly thing, or at least once in 2 weeks. So hopefully next week we'll be having another wonderful discussion. Don't let us miss it. I saw Mr. What's it called? I saw Mr. Daniel. Please, in 1 or 2 minutes, please let us either ask our question or drop our contribution. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for enlisting me on this call. So I just have something to say regarding the carbon credit. Well, I don't know if this is also applicable, because in my plants, when I joined, because we are into wet process, and all that I do is to ensure that after treating the wastewater, we use it to test our fish pond to check if it is safe, and then also we don't discharge it, because I try to put measures in place to ensure that after treating the water, we recycle it for general cleaning. Then for our fire hydrant too, we run it back to fire hydrant to ensure that we don't drill water from the ground. That's one. And then two, again, I'm also planning to install solar panel in the entire roof of the factory. I mean the entire roof, because this has been the project I've been pushing since the time I've joined, although it has not been materialized. But we are pushing for my department. So I just want to know if this can also be enlisted on the carbon credit website.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like what Akeem, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think you've already mentioned this. It's just for you to go to the website and see how it applies. Definitely, what you have done is a wonderful job, and it will definitely be included for the carbon crediting and the like that Akeem has talked about. Miss Loveline Okoye, thank you so much, Engineer Daniel Saiki. Miss Loveline Okoye, want to say something? I can see your hand raised. Miss Loveline? Mr. Kamal Hisham.
Leave that place now.
Okay, Mr. Kamal Hisham. He has always been with us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good evening.
I'm with you. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for this wonderful platform and for the privilege that you've given us to always learn from here. And thanks to the facilitator. That was a wonderful job he did. So my question is on carbon sequestration using natural carbon sink, that's trees. Where he highlighted some trees and the CO2 equivalent that could be sequestered by them. So my question is, for sequestration, especially you consider maturity of the trees before we can actually state that these trees have been able to achieve these, has been able to absorb this quantity of CO2 from the atmosphere. So I wanted to know the criteria that are to be considered for these examples of trees that had been mentioned or suggested or recommended for us to plant. I picked out the redwood tree or so, which would sequester 1.3 metric tons of CO2 per annum, but that should be at maturity. So I want to know what are the considerations before you can say that this tree, because it's not after planting it, then you'll be eligible to be able to claim any credit. It should be at a particular level, whereby you can now say that yes, at this level, based on its maturity and all of that, it can be able to, actually absorb this from the atmosphere. Then the second question is about decarbonization using solar. I had already dropped the question. So I wanted to just ask for ordinary or any other initiative, levers that you adopt to decarbonize, So 1 tons of CO2 that you're able to, remove from the atmosphere based on whatever levers you have been able to adopt is equivalent to 1 carbon credit. And in that same vein, for renewables, when you use any renewable, say solar, wind, water, to be able to generate electricity, you should be able to assess REC, okay, which with that REC you should be able to assess carbon credits. So my question, at which every other person needs to also know, is how to be able to achieve that REC after you're already able to generate electricity using renewables, say solar, which is the most predominant one. I heard when Mr. Lawal mentioned more about solar. So can you expatiate on that? How we can achieve that? Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. First and foremost, if it's the slide I reshared now and I opened in respect to the redwood, you would see that what I wrote there is an individual mature redwood tree. Hello?
Yes, we are with you, please.
Yes, at what rate would you say that is mature?
When we are talking about when we are talking about the maturity of a wood, sorry. Do you know what? Can we talk offline?
Okay, that's beautiful. That's fine. Nice.
Okay, Mr. Wali, you can go to the next person.
Okay, I think that is fine. I think that is fine. So in the absence of no further question, I think it's time to use this opportunity to appreciate every single person that has taken their time, to be here. I can see so many persons, so many professionals, so many leaders that has joined us on this call. I can see Mr. Olu, the names everything keeps moving. I can see Mr. Abiodun, I can see Mr. Sivanum James, those that have always been here with us. I can see Julius Wambete, always here with us. Mrs. Olubukola Jide Olomo. I can see Mr. Yekini Kolawole. Boss Adefela Arufela, always here with us. Sorry if I murdered the name. Olufunmilayo Onipade Ma, thank you for joining us. Temitope Rawa, my guy, thank you for always being here. And we have so many of us. I can't keep mentioning names. Mr. Steven, Mr. Bakare, Mr. Moshood. I can see Mr. Akim Salam, my new friend. Yeah, enjoying yourself. Keep enjoying Mr. Charles Obi, always with us at all time. Roda Ngetik. I don't know this country. Mr. Balogun Chita, my very humble boss. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Bakari, Mr. Wasil, Mr. Anthony Bassi, always there with us. Ezekiel Adeni, thank you for always being here with us. Samson, my very good friend, thank you. Engineer Daniel Saiki, he has been with us right from I can remember. Yes, everyone, thank you, Mr. Awachuku, Mr. Tokumbo, everyone. Mr. Anoluapo, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully next week we are inviting another top professional who will be here again with us to enlighten us, to educate us on a very important topic that we will continue to use as a basis for us to improve ourselves. Thank you all for staying us to this moment. Thank you all for being with us. Remember, we've already shared the YouTube link for those who could not join us. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to watch all our videos. We have more than 300 videos on YouTube channel already. We have 74 webinars like this. And we have so many other educating videos that we've done that we use it just to ensure that people get informed, educated. It's one thing to go for certification courses. It's another thing to get enlightened, to get exposed, and to be at the best with the recent information and keep learning every day. So our platform is that platform where you will need that can be a good resource for you. And also to invite you, also let you know that our ISO 9001, ISO 14001 lead auditor course will be starting this coming Friday, Saturday, and the next one is the weekend class, ISO 14001 Environmental Management System. You can join us, register with us as a certification body, QMSAI. Our training fee is 150,000 Naira only, and we would love you to be part of us. And we also have our technical safety courses at discount prices till tonight. Every weekend we do our discount prices, root cause analysis, incident investigation and risk management, safety data analysis, integrated curiosity, so many topics, worker type, control of other substances, so many courses that we have developed that we think are very beneficial to professionals, and they are competency-based to improve on yourself. So these courses are available on discount prices. They are pre-recorded. You just make your payment and you have access to this training. So this is an opportunity for you to also learn at a very cheap rate. The most important thing is for us to continue to improve ourselves. And just to also inform us that something is loading very soon that will make learning easier. Yes, we have seen it in many platforms in the outside world. We have seen the likes of what we are about to launch very soon. We have seen it in the outside world. But why this one is different is the fact that these are core trainings. These are more detailed trainings that are not just for you to have certificates, but for you to be drilled in this subject. So we are working on them. Before the end of the month, we are going to run a free course for you, a free course to attend the course on behavioral-based safety. We are 90% done. So once we are done with it, you will be given the opportunity for you to access this course for free via what we are launching at the end of this month. Thank you so much once again for being part of here. This was proudly brought to you together by Cordial Safety Consult for all your safety needs, safety trainings, for your organizations, ISO certification, project supervision, whatever, just get in contact with Cordial Safety Consult and we'll be right here to assist and support you at all times. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Akim Mukhtar. Thanks for the opportunity given to us to learn from you. And at this point, we appreciate every one of us. If we can now unmute ourselves and appreciate our speaker for today. Please let us say a word of thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukhtar. Thank you,
Mr.
Mukhtar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mukhtar.
Love you all.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this lecture. Was impactful, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Teofilo. Thank you, Mr. Pro. Ms. Rolake Odusi, thank you for coming. Mr. Otupiko, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And doing our countdown from 10 to 1. 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. See you all again next week. Thank you and God bless you.